Hi folks, welcome to the channel. Last week was Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd knock up a little something for the missus. This is my first real attempt at inside out turning. Here I'm just cutting up some Valentine. It's roughly 40 by 40 at the moment. Here I'm just gluing the two halves together. What I've done there is put some tape across the two ends that are receiving the glue. Put on super glue. I shall clamp them together, and that holds extremely well. It's going to be spinning around in the lathe pretty quickly, so what I'm also doing is around each end is using some, that's actually duct tape or gaffer tape, just a couple of wraps of that on each end, and that also helps keep the two pieces together while it's being turned. So it's glued and taped, nice and safe. Just trimming up each of the ends there, make them nice and square. Right, because I'm turning between centres, each of the centres, both headstock and tailstock, would be right in the middle of that join there, and because the drive spur and the tailstock dead centre are bevelled, there's a good chance that it could push the glued joint apart. So I've just hot glued on two little stubs of oak, one on each end, and I'm using that to put the drive centres into. So it's an extra secure measure of the bits not coming apart, and it also allows the points of the drive and dead centres to embed properly. Here I'm just marking up the shape that I want to turn on the outside there. Obviously the outside will at some point become the inside. Here we go, just setting her up on the lathe there. What I do is drill into those blocks of wood, or drill into where the centres are going to be, and it makes locating them on the lathe a little bit easier. Well, here we go now with some tooling. That's a parting tool, and I'm just gently putting that in to demark some lines of where I've got to turn to. Even though the line I'm turning to is in black marker, because there's only one of them and it's spinning very quickly, it's a fleeting shadow that's passing by. It's very difficult to see. So having some demarcation lines in there gives me some idea of how far to push the tool in. You can tell by the sound of the tooling there that there's an awful lot of air being cut. Just using a mixture of push and pull cuts, and working with the grain so that it's not chipping out too badly. Here I'm using the carbide hollowing tool to undercut the top section there to create that little heart shape on the inside, which will be the inside. It's not easy that, because you're working directly into end grain and you've got to work out towards the edges, and that is just prone for splitting when you work out from the centre onto the edge on the end grain. Here I'm just using the scraper. That's the shop-made scraper that I use for hollowing. I'm just doing some finishing cuts to get it down to the line. Here we go, with a bit of sandpaper. I started with 120 here and I've worked up to 400, so that'll be the sequence. Sand up to 400 grit. What I did to sand the undercut there was just wrap the sandpaper on a little bit of sponge just so that it curved its way in. And here we go, that is the first coat of cellulose sanding sealer. There we go, that's the sanding sealer. Just giving a quick denib with the wire wool. That's 0000 wire wool from Liberal. Here I'm just applying some wood wax 22. I'm applying it with a little bit of a Scotch-Brite pad there. For no particular reason other than the fact that that happened to be there. You've got to try these things, haven't you? Here we go, rubbing the polish off with a little bit of a paper towel there. You have to be very careful about your fingers on those top edges there, they're very sharp. As you can see, come out quite nicely. There we go on the table there, that's the two halves split apart. And now they're glued together to make the heart shape. This is a little bit of hazel, which I'm going to use to make the base. I was thinking of doing all sorts of shape on that. Originally I was going to keep some of the bark on the sides, but actually I didn't want the base to take away from the actual main part of the project. Here we go, just machining down. That's the round nose scraper there, just to scrape out that curve. There we go, just putting a 1/2 inch hole in there, only about 1/2 inch deep, or 3/4 of an inch deep. and I'll put a mortise on the heart figure. I used a bit of super glue there to fix the bark on there, but as I've said, I actually didn't keep the bark on there, and I just machined it down to make the base as small as possible. This is now just machining the outside. Reasonably simple task, this one, but once again you are cutting an awful lot of air, and it's very difficult to see the actual lines you've got to work to. So just doing a couple of demarcation cuts there. That's a 3/8 bowl gouge. Once again a mixture of push and pull cuts and scraping cuts. Here I'm back to the shop-made carbide hollower. What I'm trying to do there is hollow out what will be the very top of the heart to give it sort of that distinctive heart shape, really. Down the bottom there I'm just using the shop-made carbide scraper to knock the end down to create a tenon, or where there will be a tenon to fit into the base. And go back to the other end, gently just taking that down. Using the departing tool to demark the lines again, and the calipers to make sure it's the right size. Some nice scraping cuts there. There we go, that's the heart glued into, or being glued into the base. Put it back into the lathe really. The lathe is a very good clamp. And there you go, the 3/8 bowl gouge there. Just knocking the size of that base down. And just doing the transition. Quite a tight little spot that. There we go, back to a bit more hollowing on the top edge there. I've kept that top nub on as long as I possibly can because it's quite a delicate shape, and obviously it's only held by a 1/2 inch tenon. So I've kept the stub on as long as possible. Here we go, just doing a few, hopefully finishing cuts with the scraper. That's the old favourite of sanding down. Once again, same thing, start at 120, work up to 400. Here we go now, parting that top stub off. That's the ultra thin parting tool there. Shop made, of course. And now I can get right into that end with the carbide hollowing tool. A little bit of sand in there, just to bring it up to the same state as the rest of the project. And back with the old sanding sealer. A lot of the edges are quite badly chipped, but I'm not too bothered about that because I'm actually going to thin it down a little bit. There we go, wood wax 22 and a quick polish. Just using the normal thin parting tool. I always put the parting tool in at a slight angle so that the outside edges touch rather than the centre. Here we go, I'm just trimming the heart shape down on the bandsaw so it's virtually the same size as the outside of the tenon, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Just doing a little bit of finishing off with a Dremel tool, a Dremel style tool. Refinishing there. Cellulose sanding sealer. Wood wax 22. An excellent video shot there of you almost being able to see what I'm doing. Don't get any better really, does it? Just using the old Dremel there to polish off the wood wax 22. And here we have the finished product. Also bringing into operation little Susie there. Thanks for watching.